Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have another sit down video. My kids are, well, one of the three are sleeping and the other two are occupied, so I thought this was probably my best time to get this video done. This is actually a pretty old tag, as you call them, I think, on YouTube, but I've seen it resurfacing through some YouTubers and I thought I would go ahead and do it. It is the controversial mom tag. So I debated on whether or not to do this video because obviously it's controversial topics, and I'm not one of those people that get into talking about controversial topics because I just don't like the arguing and everything. But like I said, I just seen these videos going around and I thought, why not? So sorry about the glare on my glasses. My contacts have been bothering me lately, so I've been wearing my glasses more and I'm trying to get the best lighting that I can. I'm actually in the girls' room so that I can just have a little bit of quiet time while they're occupied. But yeah, so I'm sorry about that little bit of a glare. So yeah, but like I said, it is the controversial mom tag, and there is, it looks like 14 questions of what your opinion is on these topics. So let's just get into it. So the first one is pro-life or pro-choice. So personally, I put myself in the category of like being in the middle. I personally would never have an abortion, ever. But who am I to judge someone, especially not knowing their situation, of what they do with their body? Like I said, I consider myself pro-choice because me personally, or not pro-choice, I'm pro-life. But like I said, it's not my decision, or I shouldn't have a say in what someone else does in their body, and that's just my stance on it. I'll leave it at that. The next one is baby wearing. As I mentioned in my, what video was that? I don't know. One of my videos I talked about, oh, it was the baby and mama must have videos. I will tag that down below. I don't understand why this is a controversial topic. I don't understand why people would think that it is a bad thing. It is a bad thing. And why people see it as a controversial topic, but I am 100% for baby wearing. Kaiden was never worn just because he was my first kid and I didn't work and I was at home, so it wasn't a problem for me to just hold him and love on him all the time. With Miley, I had Kaiden, so, and she wanted, obviously, held all the time, and me needing to take care of him and everything, I had a Moby wrap for her and she did amazing with it. Aubrey, I absolutely love. She's getting a little big for the one that I have, but it still is working. It's just a really cheap one. I think it's by Even Flow. She does amazing in it, so I don't see why it's controversial. Babies just want to be close to their moms, and yeah, that's my stance on it. I am 100% for baby wearing. The next one is circumcision, and I didn't exactly know how to answer this one because I know this is extremely controversial. That's the word. Kaiden is circumcised. Back when he was born, I knew nothing about it. All I knew from like Chad and just everybody, all the boys got circumcised. That's how I've always heard about it. I didn't know the details. I don't know how I feel about it right now, especially if we would have another boy, if we would do it. I think that it is something that I would like to do my research more on, but I can't say if I'm for it or not for it. Like I said, Kaiden is, but back then I did not know. I didn't research it enough, and I wish I would have. But if we would have another boy, I would definitely do my research again to see more so what I would feel more comfortable with. Adoption. I am absolutely 100% for adoption. I think it is amazing that adoption is possible. It's never really like hit close in my family or anything, but I just think that it is amazing that people adopt, and I wish more people would adopt. I personally, I don't know. I told Chad, see, me and Chad are really back and forth with how many kids we want and everything. But if for some reason we wanted more kids in the future and we were very set on having more kids, and for some reason we could not get pregnant, I would absolutely consider adoption, and I know Chad would be up for that as well. So I definitely, I'm definitely for adoption, 100%. I think it's amazing. So I don't really see how that's controversial either. Huh. I don't know. How could you not want kids that don't have families to have a family? But yeah, so I'm 100% for adoption. Baby piercing. I really hope I'm not offending people by some of these answers, especially this one, because I know personally a lot of people that I know that do this. But like I said, this video is just me giving my personal views on the subject. So piercing your baby's ear, I am 100% against. Mostly for when they're babies, they pull, they just everything. And I have heard horror stories, and actually know someone personally that their baby yanked it and tore their ear. So I am against it for that reason. And not only that, I am against it for the sake of, I feel like that it is a decision that your kids should make when they are of age to understand that you're getting a hole in your ear. I was 10 when I got mine done. Me and Chad decided on the age of like 6, because I think like Kaiden understands what's going on, and he understands that it's not the most comfortable thing and that you gotta take care of them and everything. So if Miley and Aubrey want to get their ears pierced, we're absolutely going to let them, but we want them to be at an age where they understand of taking care of it and cleaning it, and that it's a hole going in their body. So for baby piercing, I am 100% against. So the next one is breast milk versus formula. This is absolutely a very controversial topic. So my kids were all formula fed. I was absolutely heartbroken every single time. With each birth, I tried very, very, very hard to breastfeed. Every time that I would fail and then I would have another kid, I would do more research, look more into options of supplements, everything that I could do to make it work. And it just never did. And it's still very heartbreaking to me, but I also, with Aubrey, got to the point where I just, being fed is best. I think that breastfeeding, it's not talked about it enough, that it is a very hard thing to do, and it can be very time consuming, and it can be very emotionally just hard for moms, because it's a lot of babies go naturally to it and a lot of babies don't. And I just think at the end of the day, being fed is best. Do what works for you. Do what works for your baby. Who are we to judge a mom that's forming? You don't know if she couldn't produce milk. You don't know if the baby wouldn't latch, which was my situation. None of my kids would latch. We tried everything. They would not latch. So I think that fed is the best. That is my answer. You do what works for you. You do what works for your baby. So that is how I stand on that. Oh, the cry it out method. This is super controversial. So with Kaiden, absolutely 100% no. I never let him cry it out. I never let him even cry for a couple minutes. If he cried, he was in my arms. With Miley, pretty much the same way, because when I had Miley, Kaiden was at an age where he could pretty much do a lot of stuff for himself. and he was able to understand, like, give mommy a minute to get Miley calmed down, and then I will come do what you need me to do. But Aubrey, I'm not 100% against it, but I'm not for it. Like, I don't, and I really hope I'm not offending people, this is just for me, I can't let my babies cry it out. I cannot. I can't stick them in a crib at night and go back in there back and forth and let them cry for a couple. I just can't do it. I don't judge parents that do it. Like I said, it all goes back to you do what works for you and your family, but I personally cannot let them cry it out. Aubrey has to cry it out at certain moments now that there is 3 kids, and Miley has to cry it out sometimes so that I can take care of Aubrey and vice versa. So they do cry it out here and there for various reasons, but it's never long. And like I said, it literally just comes back down to you do what works for you and your family. I am not going to judge people that do the cry it out method, but I absolutely cannot do the cry it out method. I can't listen to them crying, knowing that they just want comforted, or yeah, I can't do it. Spanking. Ooh, this one's good. This is super controversial. Okay, so gosh, I wouldn't say that I am against spanking, because Kaiden has, I don't even know if he would be considered spanking in his entire life, and he's going to be 6 this year. Sorry, I had to get a little more comfortable. In his entire life, and he's going to be 6 this year, he's probably had a spanking 3 times. He's had, I agree with, like, smacking a hand or something. If, like, Miley's been biting lately, so I will tap her hand. I don't beat her hand, but I will tap it. I don't judge people that do it. I mean, there's people that do it to the point of abuse, in my opinion. I feel like a lot of kids benefit from communication more than spanking, and I'm not saying that communication is always key, because there has been points. I'll just tell you how we do discipline. This is how we discipline. Not so much for Miley because she's still young, but for Kaiden. Kaiden has warnings, and he never really goes past his warnings. He gets 3 warnings, and then he gets a talking to. We will personally, like, if we're out in public, we will leave, we will go somewhere private. I never ever ever discipline in public, as in like spanking or screaming, or I don't do that, because I don't feel like that the kids take you as seriously, and I don't think that it's appropriate to do that in public, because it's nobody's business. And nowadays, with how the world are, you will get children's services called on you for even raising your voice at your child. So I just don't agree with it. So we will personally take Kaiden somewhere, and we will talk to him. We will tell him what he is doing wrong, why we are disappointed in him, what choices he could do to be better. And then if he reaches that, he goes to the corner. And let me just say, it's probably not the same for every kid, but for Kaiden, he would much rather, he takes being in a corner way more serious than being smacked, because Kaiden goes in the corner and he melts down. Like, it's horrible for him. I don't know why I can be in the same room with him, but if he is in a corner and you tell him not to move, he's heartbroken, he's devastated. That works for him. So that is why the whole time Kaiden has been born, he's probably only had a butt tap 2 times, 3 times, maybe 4. I don't agree with continuously beating your child. I mean, like I said, I'm not for, it all goes back to do what works for you. But I do think that parents, this is my opinion, people, this is going to be really controversial, but I think that parents need to do a better job with communication as well as spanking, because I know a lot of parents, specifically I know a few, that just resort straight to butt smacking. They never communicate with their child. So I feel like communication is key there. But I also believe that you have to be a parent and stick to disciplining, or your kids will get out of hand. So that is my opinion on it. Next one is homeschooling versus public school, private school, whatever you want to call it. So I wanted to homeschool Kaiden up until we had Miley, and then I realized how hard it was to even eat breakfast in the morning or sit down and do a 5-minute task with him with a baby. And not only that, Chad and I, we want him to be involved in, you know, school activities and having school friends. And I really believe that kids need to be around other kids to, just for certain reasons, for a lot of reasons. But he went to preschool and I was a nervous mess, and it benefited him so much. He loved it. He couldn't wait to go every day. He had an amazing time. We are sending him to kindergarten. I will be honest, if things keep going the way they are in our world, with the school shootings and just so many devastating things that are happening right now, I will probably get to the point of homeschooling him and our children, because the world is getting so scary. And every time, like at the end of the year, I would send him, I was scared because the world is just getting crazy, guys. And I could not imagine getting the phone call that there was a shooter at my child. Like, I can't even talk about it. I cannot even talk about that subject. But for right now, I'm all for going to school. I'm all for people homeschooling as well. Once again, what works for you and your family, I 100% agree that you should do that. But as of right now, he is going to a public school. Don't know what the future holds for us. Vaccinations. This is a super good one as well. So there has been talk about certain vaccines leading to autism. There's been vaccines leading to death. I have personally spoken to my pediatrician on multiple times, and I have done my research, and I am for vaccinations. All of my kids are vaccinated. We've never had an issue. I don't disagree with people that choose not to vaccinate their child. I know that there's a lot more research out there that I have not read, and there's people that believe in the way they do things because of the research that they've done, or maybe experiences and stuff. So I am not one of those people that will judge you for not vaccinating your kids. Like I said, I personally vaccinate, and I'm going to continue to do so unless something happens, obviously. But once again, it all comes back down to, I think the world would be just a much better place if people just had the mindset of do what works for you and what works for your family. I'm telling you, that is my motto, because when I first had Kaiden, I was really judgmental on a lot of things because I didn't know better, and I guess I was just a bad person. But all of us have mom judging moments, and I really lately, it just, when you have more kids and you think things are going to go a certain way and then they don't, you learn that something that works for you or someone else might not work for each other, you know? So I try my best, especially on these topics, to not judge. If I don't agree with something, that doesn't mean that you have to feel the same way. So like I said, I'm for vaccination. I don't judge people that don't. Eating children. So this kind of hits close to home. My brothers are ADD, ADHD, probably a couple other things. And at a very young age, they were heavily medicated. To the point where my one brother was just out of it all the time. He would walk around sometimes completely unaware of what's going on because he was so heavily medicated. And then my brother went through one of my brothers went through a stage of being addicted to the medicine that he was given, and if he did not get it, he would go on rampages. So I think that in that sense, I'm not saying that children don't need medication for certain things, so I think it depends on the situation. But for my brother's situation, I think that, for example, kids like my brothers that were ADD and ADHD, I think that you need to work with children like that, that they constantly have something to do. Because if my brothers, they're kids that, they're not kids anymore, but they're the kind of people that need something constantly keep them busy, have hands-on activities, have a schedule, have stuff to do, and they're fine. But if they don't get that, that's when they go a little crazy, and doctors just see that as they need medicine, and that's not what they need. They're just the kind of people that constantly need something to do. So I guess that's a back and forth kind of thing, because I do agree children need medication for certain things, but then situations like what my brothers were in, I think there was better ways to handle it. So that's how I will leave that. Versus disposable diapers. Plain and simple, I use disposable diapers. I think it's great that people have the patience to use the cloth diapers. I have never had the patience. If you do, you are amazing. I will stick with my disposable diapers. And then store-bought baby food versus homemade. I actually had one of you guys suggest to me, because you guys see how much baby food that we go through, and you probably know how much it costs. Aubrey's baby food is extremely expensive. We probably spend anywhere from $20 to $30 a week in baby food, and that's not including formula. So if you, and she's pretty much going through a tub of formula every week, which is about $23. And then you figure the $20 to $30 in baby food, you're looking at least 50 bucks a week. So, I want to make my own baby food. I think it's great. Do I have enough patience to not give up on it? I'm not sure. I have 3 kids. I get busy. A lot of people might call me lazy for it. I prefer the store-bought. Right now, like I said, if I would get more time or probably focus and actually try to do it, I would probably like it. But as of right now, I don't see me doing it. But if you are doing it, you're amazing, especially if you have multiple kids. Who has the time to do that? But seriously, you're amazing, and you're probably saving all kinds of bad stuff from being in your baby's belly. And that just sounds horrible that I'm agreeing that Aubrey eats bad stuff. But what I'm saying is, if you do the homemade baby food and you make it, you're great. I do the store-bought, and that's just what works for us right now. So yeah, I think, yeah, that was the last one. Like I said, I know these topics obviously were controversial, because that's what this video is about, but it all comes back down to, on the majority, if not all of those, that you do what works for you and you do what works for your family. And that's just that, honestly. Everybody's always going to disagree on something. I'm not one of those people that will argue with you if I disagree with you. I'm just not one of them people, and there are so many of them people out there that I just can't handle. But I don't like arguing, and I don't like mom shaming. Mom shaming is real, you guys. It is so beyond real, and it's sad, because us moms should be encouraging each other and lifting each other up constantly, and that just doesn't happen, and it's really sad. But I can also say that I've been one of those mom shamers. I think that we have all, at least once in our motherhood, have judged another mom for doing it their way, when all in reality, we're just doing what works for ourselves and our kids. So I'm going to leave it at that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of these mom tags that go around, definitely just let me know. Recommend them to me. Like I said, I love hearing your guys' recommendations of different videos that I should do. I would absolutely love for you to subscribe, and if you haven't already, I have my links below for my social media, I'm mostly on Instagram, so that's where you find me the most. I have a Twitter account, but I've never been, I get on Twitter and I read, but I'm not a big like tweeter. I've never gotten into it too much, but I am on there. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye guys.